to our today's Monday Discover Your Soul podcast. So today I have the amazing guest, Kelly. I will be introduce Kelly just a second. So before we start, I would like to send my gratitude and thank you for everyone here to listen our podcast. Even you're not listening now, maybe later you'll cross by the Facebook and wherever you stop by, you saw my podcast here with my amazing guest, Kelly. So I started this podcast this podcast online was new, but when I started interviewing people, that was a few years ago when I started traveling around the world to try discover myself. Then also I was curious, constantly ask myself the question, what does happiness meaning to me? Then I started asking other people. When I travel around the world, I ask people from different age, different cultures, and different race. It's interesting. I find out. I ask the same question: what does happiness meaning to you? But I never got the same answers. I think we all value our happiness in different side what we think, what we are want to be. And it's very, that make me feel the fascinating and also by constantly ask this question also make me to really think about what is happening in my life. I want you to be aware to ask yourself this question. So why this is important to you? Because I believe we are all the spiritual beings living in this physical body. We are experience our human life, then we naturally are happy. And so when by ask yourself this question, can help you slow down than to really reflecting what you are doing. So are you doing things make you happy, or you just been doing what is you used to doing? So that's the question I want to ask today. My guys, is the same question also. Before I ask this question, let me pulling out Kylie's information. I just share my screen just quick with you. I would like to see, I introduce my Kylie. Kylie, just a second. Give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. I see. Okay. A second, let me see here. Sometimes I'm still slow with this computer, with this internet. Things happen. Let me see here. No I can see my screen and a little bit messy. Forgive me. Now you can see Kelly here. Kelly is a transformation coach and focus on the food, freedom, and the heart. So, and I would like the Kylie, let me say, Kylie to introduce herself, then to tell us what is Kylie's passion. Later, so I just show you a little bit here, and later I will be posting this photo in the group on the Facebook, so everybody can find out Kylie's more information. That is, so here we back to Kylie. Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Riya.
Thank you for coming here with me today. So would you like to introduce yourself a little bit, then with the people who's listening here, then let us know what is your passion.
All right, well, I would love to introduce myself, and thank you so much, Riya. I love your podcast and what you're all about, and the inspiration and finding your soul and kind of just being present in that joy and happiness. I mean, that is exactly what ultimately I'm all about as well. So I'm a transformational coach, and I focus on food freedom and building a resilient heart. And the food freedom is kind of important because what we put into our bodies and what we put into our mind is so critical as to what we feed and nurture our soul ultimately. And so I like to start with the basics, which is the food that we eat. And there's a lot of toxins in the environment and a lot of things that are classified as food that really aren't food at all. So once people become aware of this, though, and a new way to look at things and have this mind shift and kind of feeling their body with nutrition and their soul, it helps them to shift kind of out of the chaos and kind of out of the fear and out of kind of the monotony of life as they become more aware of what's around them. And that's when we can start to build that resilient heart. And so I'm also director of neurotechnology at A Chance to Grow, which is a nonprofit. And we have 9 different clinics that have brain-based programs that help children and adults reach their highest potential. And so I'm in charge of the brain training. And so I'm not exactly sure what you do, but I work with electric frequencies in the brain as well. So
that kind of, we have some place related. So I work with use different technique with them to help people to make the into different brainwave stage.
Yes, help to build really a resilient brain as opposed to a reactive brain. When you're reactive, you're kind of stuck in these fear modes and you're always kind of exploding or reacting to things, as opposed to what neurofeedback does is it helps to bring you into the moment. So it helps to kind of stabilize, reach that homeostasis with your brainwave frequencies. It's holistic, non-medical, and it really is just mirroring back to the brain what your brain's doing. And when your brain gets that information, it's all about electricity. So it wants to be as effective as possible. So it can see when we're kind of stuck in reactive states or struggling with different concerns, when we mirror back that to the central nervous system, the brain says, whoa, that takes a lot of energy to not change, transition. We're never meant to be stuck in certain moods. We're meant to kind of have control of our brain and transition, to be able to transition when we want to focus, to be able to transition when we want to relax. And so when it sees we're stuck, it kind of begins reorganizing those electrical pathways of the brain for greater efficiency. And then we can see things melt away, and it allows us to be more present in the moment. So I also work with audiovisual entrainment as well, which is, again, working with the brainwave frequencies. It works a little bit different, but it helps to create that stability in the brain. So
that's very fascinating, and I think so grateful your work is to help people. We all have different way to help the people, each of us. So I was doing some healing of the conscious mind. Our brain, like you said, other ways with different things. When you with really stress, your brain go into the fight or flight mind. So sometimes your emotion go down, your brain just cannot think, cannot to make good decisions. So when you go into that relaxing stage, you can have more clear, calm energy. So bring the different elements into that thoughts also. So anyway, that is another part of what I do, so I don't talk too much today. So today's podcast is all I want to share with everybody, and bring Kelly here to share your wisdom and the gift to other people. Also, before I would like you ask you same question like you heard I ask to other people. So what does happiness mean to you, Kelly?
What does happiness? I think in a way, happiness is a little bit of a tricky question when you ask that question. At least I think here in America, it might be different around the world, like you've found, because people often equate happiness, I think, to a thing or a material item or an event. Like you're going to Florida, you're having ice cream, you're happy, yay, right? But then it dissipates when that event goes away. So it's really dependent upon, lots of times, the way I think some people see happiness, it's dependent upon an event or something happening to make you happy. Whereas, like you were discussing, I think in one of your past podcasts about joy a little bit, I think joy or contentment is kind of my happiness. I want that joy and that contentment where regardless of it's like an internal peace, an internal joy, that regardless of what's happening around me, I can maintain that happiness independently, because it comes from within, ultimately, that joy and that peace. And so happiness for me then is being aware and present in the moment, and being able to really see the gifts that are before me, even if they're really small, even if it's just like the sun or the breeze. I've been in some pretty traumatic situations where it didn't look like there was much good going on. But what I've discovered and what I've learned is really that focusing on the positive in the situation and focusing on myself from within and finding that joy to be happy despite the craziness that's going on around you is really what happipiness means to me. It's like a contentment from within, being present.
Thank you, Kelly. I think yes, when I ask people, it's not just about the happiness. Also, I ask, what do you think between the happiness and the joy? You just talk about that joy. Yes, it's more from the internal. I think the happiness sometimes it can be very easy. Sometimes if you craving something, like if I craving some candy, the kids probably when you give the candy, then he feel really happy at that moment, right?
Right.
But the joy is completely different. I think the joy is really come from inside. So when you don't need depend on something to bring that happy and something with you, it's just vibrate different frequency, different vibration inside with you. You can smiling. Sometimes I feel I just laughing without no reasons. I don't need any reason to find laughing. And so let me come back here is, what do you think? So we from the 1 to 10. So how much the joy you think you are at that point in your life at this moment?
At this moment right now, where am I at with my joy on a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Well, I've been working really hard on this.
We all do. This is have to be, I think this is the journey. It's not the destination. So that's why we work every day.
Right, it is. And honestly, I was just thinking today, while I was eating lunch right before I talked to you, that I'm like, I might even start crying, but I'm like, I'm at like the perfect place. Like the last few days, I'm exactly where I want to be. I mean, I've loved how I've spent where I was, my days. We volunteered at a Bible camp and did lots of dirty work and took down a ceiling, and it was whatever, but it was like fantastic. And my daughter was with me and a friend, and my son's been home, and we had a campfire and just different things and working. It's like, I love it all. I mean, there's so many blessings in all this. And I would say I'm at about a 10. I mean, I'm very content. I'm very joy-filled. A 9 or a 10. I mean, everything, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful and blessed, I guess, within this moment.
That's beautiful, Kelly. I'm so happy. I think that is amazing. I think to be on that stage, yes, like you said, we have to concentrate and work on that. It's not saying we have to how hard to work on this. It's just be the right mindset. Mm-hmm. Have be always awareness that.
Right.
Excuse me. It's just like we ask. So what we constantly ask ourselves is why we are not happy, why we cannot change in that situation, become happy. When we are aware things happening around us, I think that bring more happiness and joy. Mm-hmm. It's just, I want to say, it's just like this morning, I have a little accident happen. Like we were scheduled at 11 today's podcast. Then at 9:30, my internet just crashed. It doesn't work. Then I have to cancel my 10 o'clock the meetings. Then I called you, I text you, say, oh, Kelly, I don't know, we can still doing this podcast, and maybe we can reschedule to another day. Then, of course, we all are busy people. We all have our schedule fixed.
Right.
Scheduled so many. Then we said, oh, bummer. So I hate the things happen. Don't you think you hate the things happen when
Yes,
you
I do.
out of control? But then I was upset for a few minutes. Then I was thinking, well, what I can do? So I have nothing to, cannot do except this. I cannot control to changing my internet this moment. But I help finally. But it is. I think it's. I don't know. Maybe it's my positive energy. I don't know. So I was thinking that take a few hours, but only I think about 40 minutes, 30 minutes, my internet come back. I was like, whoa!
Yeah, it was awesome, yay. And I was the same. I'm like, oh no, I really wanted to do this interview today. And I just got my lighting set up. I just put my makeup on. I'm ready to go. And then it's like, it's canceled. It's like, no, we have to do it. But like you said, honestly, there was a point where I did shift. I had a shift, right? We had a shift because it's like, really want to get this done. We can't do it next week. I can't do it the next week. I really want to be with Riya. She's amazing. And then it's like, wait a second. I mean, I let it go. I'm like, it will be what it will be, right? I had to get to that point and shift. So and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out and have lunch, bring my puppy dog and sit in the sunshine. But then I got a ding ding and it's like, we're on. So then I had to hurry up and eat.
I'm so happy you and me in the same page. Yes, so every day we life is evolving, different things happen. It's not everything go like what we planned.
Right.
So sometimes happens is just happens out of our control. But we all have that ego mind, and we plan something. We want to be just what we planned. If something not out of the plan, sometimes we get upset. But if we are aware, like you said, we are aware that, then we can quickly shift. So we have up, down, that's all normal, but we always can bring ourselves to that shift, that stage to be happy. So I'm studying how to bring, we talk about the vibration frequency, like you said, when we say, when you upside, when you feel guilty or you feel stressed, you vibrate madness, your vibration frequency was in the lower, like 20, under the 20. But how do you bring that, go to the higher? We know the love, especially the gratitude is 500, the frequency, then the vibration. How do you bring from the lower stage and go to the higher? It's really simple. I tell everybody the tip here, just one tip, it's really simple. When the things out of the control, when the things happen, make you not happy, you just take a moment to accept that. Acceptance. When you accept that things, that can quickly bring you from the lower frequency, go to the higher, then you can able tap in with bring your vibration up.
Right. So
acceptance.
Is that acceptance?
Yes.
Right? Acceptance. Yes, exactly. Yes, that is really
like you accept that. When you accept that, you bring quickly shift, then your emotion, everything is shift. Right?
That's beautiful. Yep. And that's kind of what we talked about today too, isn't it? When we like, and then like, okay.
Yes.
Except the internet's down, except it might not happen today. Fine.
Yes. So if everyone you listen here, so you can tell us, so what is happiness and joy meaning to you? And how do you shift your situation when you're in the some upside, or you don't feel things out of the control? How do you shift your situation, bring your lower frequency stage, move to the higher stage? So you can always share the comment below. So we will be look at, if you have the question, I will answer your question after this. So we come back to here. I have another questions to ask Kelly. Kelly, are you ready for my next question? I always have a lot of questions to ask.
Ready. I'm ready. I've loved the past. I love how you made that acceptance so easy. I think I've kind of made it hard, but that resistance piece, you know, it's so easy to have that resistance. I always want to resist things, right? Resist change, but the acceptance is a beautiful thing.
I think receptance, that is we normal. So it's just, things happen, we automatically want to push, want to find the results, we might just try to find how to resolve that thing. So we cut off into more stress. But by simply accept that, so you can shift your energy, shift your mind setting, then you have more clear mind, have calm down. So that things happen, just like ours. I was thinking we have to reschedule this one, but just 2 more minutes since whole things shift again. So I accept that. So that was really, really beautiful moments I shared with everybody, and have you here shared with all us too.
Yes, it happened for a reason.
Yes, yeah. So now I have my next question, Kelly. So what is the challenging have you overcome in your life, and how did it define who you are today?
All right. Well, I have an answer for that one. And I'm a mom, and it took 7 years. I went through 7 years of infertility, which was really, really difficult. I would have never imagined in my whole life how difficult that would be. And at the end of those 7 years, I did have a son through fertility treatments, IVF, and so it was great. But then we decided we wanted to adopt our next child because we thought surely it would be much easier, number one. So we went to China. And we adopted our baby girl from the beautiful country of China. She was 2 years old, and she was beautiful and so incredibly smart. And she was supposed to be healthy, but when we got her home in the US, we found out that she was really sick. She was really physically sick. She was so sick that she would need an open heart surgery, they knew. So our healthy child, boom, like within days, it was very chaotic. It's like, she was really sick. She had autoimmune disease. And then after they did a heart cath, they said, oh my gosh, she's sicker than we thought. She's a fighter, strong-willed. I mean, she was 2 years old. They would have done open heart surgery like at birth right away. So they were like amazed at how well she was functioning and everything. It was like, I mean, a survivor, incredible. So they were shocked to find out her lungs were not functioning well at all. And they thought she might need a heart and lung transplant. And so that's really how quickly things could shift, because we thought open heart surgery was like the end of the world. But then when they said heart lung transplant, it's like, whoa, okay, dear God, please give us the open heart surgery. And so it was a God-given journey to get her over there. And we did lots of praying, and the surgery went phenomenally well. It was like miraculous. She just had open heart surgery. And so I just wanted to take her and my kiddo and live in ignorant bliss as a mom, but that didn't really happen. What I found out is that what was happening is that her mental health she was struggling with mental health issues. At the time, I really didn't know what they were, but she raged much of the time at home during the day, and it wasn't really a temper tantrum. It's like she was dying or fighting somebody off, and it would just come on like that. I mean, out of nowhere. It made no sense. She didn't want to be touched. She couldn't stand to be touched. She didn't like to be touched or held. She told me I wasn't her mama, didn't want anything to do with me. She would ignore me all day. And then when her dad would come home, she would cling to my legs, screaming and crying, go. She had sensory processing issues. I didn't know what any of this stuff was really at the time. It's like, I had to piece this all together. And she had learning disabilities, she had vision problems, she had extreme anxiety, ADHD, very impulsive, kind of bouncing all over the place, couldn't focus. She had kind of manic moods, extremely happy one day or 1 minute, and then boom, she was like really angry the next. So she missed that calm. And so I just knew that I had to get her well. And it's like I had prayed to God and he had guided me specifically to this child through another big, long story. But it's like I just kept praying, you know, for him to guide me in what to do. And as I did, I started piecing things together and I realized that she had reactive attachment disorder, which is a disorder that is created when particularly that first year of life where that primary attachment isn't there. They were unable to build a relationship with anybody. So they don't trust anybody. So they really don't even know what love is. I mean, we had a son before her that took 7 years to get. I mean, he melted like butter in our hands and he reflected our emotions, right? It's like I would laugh, he would laugh. He loved to be tickled, held, sing. I mean, he was the center of our universe and like all over. Daughter was completely opposite. Wanted nothing to do with us. Couldn't stand to be touched. Didn't touch us, you know, angry, just like would be off on her own all the time. So it was like night and day. So it was shocking. But she was very charming, very smart, very sweet, very manipulative among strangers. And everybody thought she was like the most amazing, perfect thing. And the doctors and everybody's like, don't worry about her. She'll be fine. And it's like, no, she's not going to be fine. She's really struggling at home. And so what I put all these things together, and what I really realized is that she had what they call developmental trauma disorder, which Bessel van der Kolk has termed. He's a national trauma therapist. And so underneath that umbrella, it really affects all our neurophysical skills when you have developmental trauma. And if they're not addressed, it's going to affect you well into adulthood. And so it includes the social skills and the anxiety and the inability to trust people, the inability to, you know, make intimate relationships, the inability to learn. It affects everything. And so, and that, of course, then ties into the trauma piece, tied into the reactive attachment disorder, where the kids are very oppositional. They can't take direction. And so this was just like a floodgate of things that dumped down upon me. And that's how I worked marketing and advertising at the time. And I said I worked full time, which I felt very guilty about, but we needed, you know, the money. But I worked, studied, like researched at nights. And that's where I learned about reactive attachment disorder, developmental trauma disorder. And I was kind of piecing this all together. And then that's how I discovered Chance to Grow, where I work right now, the clinic that has those 9 different programs, and they help reorganize the brain. They help to retrain the brain through various programs. And so neurofeedback, which is the program that I'm in charge of now, I knew nothing about it, that changes the brain, was one of the first programs we did. And someone said it helped with attachment. And I'm like, I don't know what it does, but we'll do it. And we did it for about 1.5 years. And in that year, I can look back now, my daughter's 17. And I can look back, that year was like a huge shift for her. Things started to change because how we talked about that reactive brain, how you can't think and make good decisions, she was stuck there since birth.
What is her name?
What is my daughter's name? Jana. Jana, yep. And so she was stuck there until we did neurofeedback. It started to kind of calm, right, that brain a little bit to make her more receptive to the therapeutic parenting. And then we did tons of other different programs with her. And so I can fast forward. She is now a junior in high school. And in kindergarten, she was going into special ed. She's been actually on the honor roll since 7th grade now. She's on the National Honor Society. She no longer has reactive attachment disorder, which it's considered incurable by many, but that's not the case. The brain can change, and that's kind of my passion and why I'm here. You really just have to know the right feedback for the brain, right, to get it to move and change. And she's phenomenal. She's loving and kind and loves hugs and kisses and all. Yes, all that stuff. I mean, it's amazing. She's probably one of the most regulated kiddos in the classroom right now in high school. I mean, it's kind of, being a kid right now is really difficult in this day and age with anxiety and depression and suicide and everything. So, and in all honesty, the greatest challenge, like, she doesn't do what your average kiddo does. I mean, she didn't have a phone. She doesn't really use screens. Her central nervous system is very sensitive to all this feedback. And so it stimulates the stress response, which puts us in those lower frequencies where you can't think, right? And that's where the depression and everything's in.
I can imagine how much you go through with all of this.
It was crazy. I mean, she had a second open heart surgery in 2018 and they told us she wasn't going to live. That was another whole surprise thing. So we have been through a lot.
Yes.
A big challenge with my daughter. So I had to learn kind of, like you said, how to shift myself and look at the blessings, because otherwise I would have been buried alive in crap. And I don't know if I would have been here in fear, really.
Thank you for sharing your story. That was amazing. So I would like to send my love to Jenna and my healing thoughts. So I completely understanding all the childhood trauma, all of the things. I didn't go through with that brain disorder, but I have that same situation, just like Jenna goes through. When I was born, I was besold to another family. So I grew up with the childhood trauma, just like when you adopt the Jenna, he's left with the biological parents. So that's also, that trauma is already with us. Maybe it's not there. Maybe it's when the mom pregnant with her. So the mom, just like what I experienced through years, my healing experience, because in my whole life before, I've been deal with, bonding issues, just like depressing, and just think this, all of that issues, So especially when she have the heart open surgery, you physically completely open. All of the inner drama, the out drama, everything is just, the poor girl have to go through so much. It's already go through so much. So that's what I want to share is that, so when I'm keep fighting, keep healing, after 40 years, I would think I'm fine, I'm good. But that always have triggers. Sometimes you don't know, bone trigger, go back to that situation again. Then I find out through my healings, I find out the discover really the trauma I carrying, the sadness I carrying is not mine. It's my mom's. So why I say that, maybe that happened to Jenna, so I'm not sure. But why I say that, because I found out when my mom pregnant with me, he's already know this girl, she don't want anymore. She cannot have it. She will give her away. So then she's a whole pregnancy with that point, all of the sadness, all of the guilty, all of that negative vibration is already born with that.
Yeah, that's really important. And I can't even imagine how you went through that. And to do it on your own, I mean, she had she's so thankful. She has me. So like when these abandonment and these triggers hit, she's like just mad and like the world's bad. And it's like, no, this is a trigger, hon. You need to like refocus. This is like, I don't think so. It's like, yes, it is. It's like, you need to journal about this and figure out where this is coming from, right? So we can let it go, because if you don't figure it out, you keep triggering. And the more you trigger, the more you trigger, the stronger you make that trigger in your brain.
Yes. That is go through my years, the healing. I found out, yes, the trigger still there, but the big difference is before, when I got triggered, maybe when she got triggered, take years to come out of that trigger situation. But now I can, when I get the trigger again, I can very quick, 2 hours, couple hours, I can change my situation. Because when you start healing, that's really inside, changing your brain waves, changing your thoughts, changing the, when you grow up with the society, when I grew up with the society, the culture, think I was so hate myself to be the girl. I was thinking, if I'm the boy, my parents wouldn't give me away. So, but anyway, that was last story. So that's what I've been really fascinating, go through. That's what I may say, from self-doubt to self-healing to self-love, until now to self-empower, inspire other people. So I feel so much love to you and to Jenna.
Thank you so much. And I feel so much love for you too, because what you went through, I mean, I know how hard that is, especially for an adult. It's harder because you've had so many years behind you, right? That's kind of beaten into your brain, this subconscious of like all these beliefs, like you say, that aren't even yours, that we accept as ours. And
I would, after this, when later on after this, I never done this before, but I would love give some gift to Jenna, doing some data healing. with her. So maybe that can help
fabulous. Thank you.
where his some childhood trauma or some trauma from
I would love that.
from her. It's
Would love
so
that.
yes. After this, we will connect with that. I would like to see we can set up something and do some healings with that. I think healing is the journey. Our whole life been going through that. It's even we think this moment we are so great, so wonderful, but sometimes we still continue doing what we're doing. That I always tell my daughter. My daughter, I'm a single mom. My daughter is 25 now. I always tell her, so the life is the journey. It's how do you make, how do you study, how do you be aware, happy at every moment. It's not how do you results to find the result in the end, the destination. Your life is not destination. We will know we're born, then we will die. So you will not say you're born, you already know you die, you just die. But it's how do you enjoy the journey? That is what I appreciate about life.
That is beautiful, and that's exactly it, because you the results, our society is driven with results, right? But results end and then you start up again, right? So there's not even any joy in it because you don't even celebrate it because you got to go
It's kind of sometimes with society or with cultures, with parents when we was baby. So I study, so we bring we childhood from the age 4 to 7. That time, if your parents judge you, if you get abandoned, or you get not just that time is your memory is really affect your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Then before that, you don't have much memory, but that's still you carry. Like now, you look at yourself, look at myself. Maybe I never see my biological parents, but I'm look exactly like them. So that is never will be changed. So that we always carry the traumas from generation to generation.
Yes, it gets very complicated, doesn't it?
Yes. Okay, so we want to get out of this situation now. We ask another question. We cut off with this one, but it's very grateful. Send my love, and Jenny have you. I can imagine having you that loving mom, so lucky of her. Then gratitude is always help us. I want to send my gratitude for you to be the amazing mom to help the little girl. Yes.
I really
I have a next question come up. Are you ready for my next question?
I'm ready.
You go through with all of this, so then you are amazing mom. You are amazing study to use what you study to help your kids that know to help others. So now I have my next. The question is, so what superpower did you develop as the results? Even we say we don't looking for the result, but after with the things you helped, then the things through your experience, what is the superpower you think you have?
The superpower, and this might sound a little strange, and I think I've maybe just come to realize it, and just, as I dig deeper and stuff, and what people are amazed about and people say, and what maybe I take for granted is my faith in a higher power is really what has driven. I mean, there were so many obstacles and so many things, and even first adopting her, but it was like my faith and my prayer and God. I believe in God, but everybody can believe in what they want, but I believe in God, and he guided me very much to her. And it really was a nightmare going through it at times. But God, it's like my faith, I was faithful. I held faithful to God and prayed and just followed his guidance from the inner spirit and what I should do. And it's these beautiful things, amazing things that are almost unbelievable, unfolded as I went through all this. So faith has been probably my superpower in resilience, to help me to be resilient and help my daughter be resilient and my family.
Well, what I see, I can just see straight. One of your superpower is your strength. I can imagine how much you go through, and then you've been come out and help bring the daughter to this loving, amazing, the daughter now amazing mom. If without the strength, I think cannot come today. So that also is one of your superpower what I see.
Thank you.
So that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing all your stories with us. So before we close this podcast, I would like you use the 3 words that as the gift that can help with listener whosoever watch this, they can to refresh, to help them and inspire them. That 3 words they can use as the tips in their life.
All right. So I have 3 words. And number one, I would say is faith or spiritual connection, to have that connection to source, to something higher than yourself, because that's really the superpower in life, right? You can live in the material if you want, but if you do that, you're kind of missing out on your superpower, that connection to spirit, that connection to nature, that connection to the bigger picture, to higher energy, to love, to good. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but it is a higher power, a higher spiritual power, the highest energy. So, and I call that faith. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is self-love. We have to have self-love. I mean, I had to figure that out pretty quick for myself in order to give my daughter what she needed. It's like I had to really look inward and kind of forgive myself. And honestly, it's a daily task. I mean, it continues to get rid of that judgment, that my judgment on others is really a judgment on myself. So it's like I have to keep working on that self-love for myself to help me to continue to grow. So self-love is incredibly important because it helps you to love others. And then last but not least is connection. We're kind of all one in the big picture of things. And so I believe relationships are the greatest gift that we've been given from God, is to connect to others. That's where we can find that joy. I mean, the highest joy is in connecting to others and giving to others and being with others and experiencing with others. I don't think there's anything else in this world that's as powerful as that. I mean, together is really where greatness happens, right? It doesn't happen alone. So, connectiveness, be connected to those around you and the environment around you.
That is beautiful, Kelly. Thank you. That I think we as the human, we all have the connection. We love the love from the connections. So we are living in this world, connect with people. The connections can have the touch, smell, like we craving about the hugs. That connections, I think, brings so much love in the world, and also the connection with your higher self, the spiritual realm. So that connection is I think the spiritual connection, that is when I awakening with my spiritual connection, that is completely changing my life. That make me to more understanding how to use my love to connect the people who are around me, the people in the world. That is beautiful. So before we close our podcast, everyone here, I want to thank you to watch this, and send my gratitude and thank you to Kelly. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for sharing your beautiful stories that's very attached. Amazing mom, and of course here I have an amazing daughter. I can't wait to meet her. I have a special connection with her because I already feel that connections.
I think you two will be buds.
Yes. I bet that's it. So I will be close this on the Facebook Live. Thank you everyone watch here. Thank you, Kelly. I hope you come to our next podcast. We bring another amazing stories in here with everyone here. Thank you, everybody.